Okay, are we live? Let me see if the audio works.
Steve,
Sure.
Yep, perfect. All right. Okay, we're live. I'll go live. I'll go live. Okay, I think we're live. What's up, everyone? I know we took 2-3 days off. I don't remember when was the last time we streamed, but we are hopefully back to a daily schedule. So unless I stream every day, I guess let's not believe it's a daily schedule. Let's wait for a few people to join in. We have a lot of news today. I think the India-Pakistan ceasefire is going to hold. There's like a temporary trade deal between the US and China, and Vladimir Putin has agreed to negotiate with Ukraine. Now let's see how that everything is going. Let's wait for people to join in. Oh, by the way, if you're just joining in, be sure to hit the like button down below. It helps us out tremendously just to get the stream to more people, and really helps to grow the channel. Hey, what's up, Mila? Mila Meter, what's up, Robin? Smiko, Cheddar Cheese, that's a funny name. No, yeah, so we have more details about why there was some speculation about a nuclear war because, again, JD Vance initially said that US is not going to get involved in India-Pakistan conflict, but then right after that interview, apparently US received some intelligence that was definitely unsettling. They're not saying what the intelligence was. We can assume it could be some kind of big escalation, and that intelligence basically made US get involved. So US helped broker a ceasefire, or at least US helped get both sides talking to each other. Initially, the sides were not talking to each other, but after US received this intelligence, they basically pushed both sides to talk directly, and ceasefire is in place. It doesn't seem to, like some stuff is still happening on the border, but it doesn't seem to be a full-on war like it was 2 days ago. Oh, my volume is super low again. Oh my God. Let me check. Can you guys hear me? Or is it super low? Hello, hello? Okay, I think it's pretty good. Yeah, at least that's what it's showing on my side, that it's pretty good. Let me check if I can check all the settings on my side. Yeah, Danda said it's pretty good. Just audio is good. Perfect. Thank you, Girth, Evan, Danny. All right, perfect. So we'll get started. So this was on May 8th. So 3 days ago, this is what JD Vance said. He said US has no plans to get involved in India-Pakistan war.
Steve,
Sure.
how concerned is the administration about the potential for nuclear war between India and Pakistan?
Well, look, we're concerned about any time nuclear powers collide and have a major conflict. What we've said, what Secretary Rubio said, and certainly the president has said, is we want this thing to de-escalate as quickly as possible. We can't control these countries, though. Fundamentally, India has its gripes with Pakistan. Pakistan has responded to India. What we can do is try to encourage these folks to de-escalate a little bit, but we're not going to get involved in the middle of a war that's fundamentally none of our business and has nothing to do with America's ability to control it. You know, America can't tell the Indians to lay down their arms. We can't tell the Pakistanis to lay down their arms. And so we're going to continue to pursue this thing through diplomatic channels. Our hope and our expectation is that this is not going to spiral into a broader regional war or, God forbid, a nuclear conflict. But sure, we're worried about these things. But I think the job of diplomacy, but also the job of cooler heads in India and Pakistan, is to make sure this doesn't become a nuclear war. If it happened, of course, it would be disastrous. Right now, we don't think that's going to happen.
Steve,
Sure.
how
So this was on May 8th, roughly 4 days ago. Now, right after this, US received some intelligence that was pretty dangerous. And we know this from a New York Times report. So right here, according to one person familiar with the, hopefully you guys can see it. I'll zoom in a little. Yeah. According to one person familiar with unfolding events who was not authorized to speak publicly about them, serious concerns developed in the administration after that interview that we just watched, that conflict was at a risk of spiraling out. And the reason this happened is because, where is this? Let me find it. Okay, so right after the interview, India hit one of the air bases that was in Pakistan named Noor Khan Air Base. Now, base is definitely very important, but what's even more important is the location of this base. The base is located roughly like 6 miles away from like the nuclear facility of Pakistan. I wonder if I can find that. It's somewhere here. Okay, it's in this tweet. Yeah, it's located within, it's located a short distance from Pakistan's nuclear facility. Now, this is not where the nukes are stored, but this is where all the controls are to control the nukes that are spread across the country. So when US got intelligence of this, they sprung into action. So what I mean by that is JD Vance, who recently visited India, he called Indian Prime Minister Modi, and Secretary of State Marco Rubio called the Pakistani head, and then they tried to basically push both sides to figure out a way to de-escalate the situation. They basically pushed both sides to talk to each other. US wasn't trying to negotiate a peace, or they weren't trying to like broker a ceasefire like we've been doing with Russia and Ukraine, but this was more so like, hey, you guys need to talk with each other because this is getting out of hand. And here's President Trump today sharing more details. America will not allow. Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember, just a few weeks ago, recently there was some podcast, I think, with one of the administration, and that was a big worry in Russia, Ukraine too, because US administration is extremely worried if nuclear weapons are ever used, the stock markets will basically crash. And yeah, it's definitely very risky if someone starts using nuclear weapons. Jeffrey says, I'm worried about nukes. The fallout won't just affect India, Pakistan. It will have global consequences. Yeah, that's true, right? It's just like it breaks the taboo of using nuclear weapons. If one country uses it, even if it's not like a big blast, it's like a tactical nuclear weapon, it just like makes it more easier for other countries to use it in the future. And you never know who's going to get their hands on nuclear weapons. Iran is getting very close. North Korea has it. It's just like we got to make sure we don't just let countries get away with it. By the way, we have almost 1,500 people, but we only have 100 likes. So let's try to get that like counter to 500 likes. So if you guys haven't hit the like button down below, be sure to do that right now. And right above my head is the subscriber counter. We're at 90,000. We're trying to get to 1.7 mil. So if you haven't subscribed, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But what do you guys think? So as of now, it seems the ceasefire is holding. But you guys think India and Pakistan will start fighting again? Yeah, it's been a ceasefire, like Indra said. Daniel, will affect the world economy. Definitely, yeah. Like, it's going to be crazy. Like, I don't know. I was very young when 9/11 happened, but it affected every single country, even though it happened here in the United States. The air travel was just gone. Businesses were halted for like at least a day, I think. And the stock markets were closed all around the world. And when it opened, it was like a big drop. No, the crazy part is Pakistan is still getting bailouts from IMF. I think while all this was going on, we still gave them $1 billion loan. I think if country has nuclear weapons, they should not be asking other countries for for loans. I think that should be a good condition that should be on like all the loans we give out to help out countries. It's like if you have nukes, you don't deserve free money. You should get rid of the nukes and then you get free money. Yeah, more reason Iran should never have nuclear weapon, like Juan said. Yeah, Iran is actually pretty close because the way they have enriched uranium, I think they're just like a week away or 2 weeks away from making nuclear weapons. And I know you guys are probably hearing this from like last 10 years that they are just 2 weeks away. And what that really means is like if they keep running their centrifuges, they could create a nuclear weapon in 2 weeks. That's what it really means. It doesn't mean like 2 weeks from now they'll have nuclear weapons. It's like if they decide to have nuclear weapons, they'll have it in 2 days. Hey, thank you so much, Jeffrey Stalker, for subbing. Yeah, we've been getting, as Angry Bird said, we've been getting some reports of both countries breaking the ceasefire, but it's still happening on the border. It's like both countries just shooting at each other or shelling each other. It's not something where the planes and drones are flying deep into each other's territory. So ceasefire is holding, but that doesn't mean there's no firing. But then again, India, Pakistan have been fighting for like 70 years almost. 1947, I think, is when they started fighting, so it is insane. Yeah, I really hope, like Anthony said, ceasefire holds. Did Modi give a speech in English? I don't think he gave a speech in English. That's the thing. So we would watch the speech, but it's not in English. I don't want to watch something that I don't understand. Do you think Bangladesh? I don't think Bangladesh would get involved in this at all. Confuses them. But let's watch this Trump statement he made today about the war.
Again, let me say a few words about the historic events that took place over the last few days. On Saturday, my administration helped broker a full and immediate ceasefire, I think a permanent one, between India and Pakistan, ending a dangerous conflict of two nations with lots of nuclear weapons. And they were going at it.
Yeah, as like King James says, LeBron James is in the chat, but China is heavily involved. Pakistan has not spent a single dollar in this war. All the money that Pakistan has been sending is coming directly from China. So China is funding this war that was going on. It's now at pause. All the while, Pakistan was asking World Bank and IMF for very loud. If they want to buy Chinese weapons, maybe they should ask Chinese for the loans, not the Western countries.
Hot and heavy, and it was seemingly not going to stop. And I'm very proud to let you know that the leadership of India and Pakistan was unwavering, powerful, but unwavering in both cases, and having these, they really were, from the standpoint of having the strength and the wisdom and fortitude to fully know and to understand the gravity of the situation. And we helped a lot. And we helped.
Yeah, so the way Pakistan got nukes is pretty crazy. Someone just stole it from, I think, a European country, like Fluffy Corgi pointed out.
Also with trade, I said, come on, we're going to do a lot of trade with you guys. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. If you stop it, we're doing trade. If you don't stop it, we're not going to do any trade. People have never really used trade the way I used it. That I can tell you. And all of a sudden they said, I think we're going to stop. And they have. And
So yeah, that was pretty simple, pretty easy. We'll keep moving forward in a sec. China will starve for food and goods if they piss off the rest of the world. Yeah, also the crazy part, China imports roughly 40% of their food. So they can't really have a world that's not safe to do trade in, because again, China is heavily dependent on trade, not just in terms of exports, even imports. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know, like the Chinese history with famine, especially when Mao was there, he engineered a famine, basically. It wasn't something that nature caused. He basically told all the farmers to quit farming and go work in the factories. And because of that, China had like a very, very intense famine where millions, I think almost 30, 40 million people died. That's the crazy part. Pakistan used to help Taliban, and now even Taliban is like fighting with Pakistan. Okay, we'll watch, which one do we watch first, post? The nuclear, let's watch this, I guess.
For over 2 decades, a single myth has shaped every India-Pakistan conflict.
My bad, it's too fast. Let me fix it. Oh, by the way, before we get started, we're at 1,200 viewers, so if you guys haven't hit the like button, let's try to get the like number to 500. Right now, it's just at 300. So if you're enjoying the stream, be sure to hit the like button. It just helps us out with getting to more people.
That Islamabad has nuclear weapons, and that makes it untouchable. It started in 1998. That's when India became a nuclear power, and so did Pakistan. And since then, Islamabad held on to one narrative.
So, Eric, I think Pakistan was able to shoot down at least one jet, and they claim 5, but we don't exactly know because we're not getting any confirmation. But the real number is probably somewhere between 1 and 5. I think slowly we'll get more confirmation, hopefully. But one was confirmed even by the French. They said, yeah, one Raphael or whatever, Raphael, that was shot down.
A narrative that was crafted by Rawalpindi's generals and accepted by the world. It made Pakistan's nuclear weapons their license to export terrorism, to operate a state-sponsored terror machine. No matter what Pakistan did, there were no real consequences. They kept bleeding India from the 2001 Parliament attack to the 2008 Mumbai attacks, and India responded with dossiers, diplomacy, and declarations. Never military action. That changed in 2016. After the Uri attack, India set a new precedent. If you attack, we will hit you back militarily. Then in 2019, after the Pulwama attack, India reinforced this position. Indian jets bombed Pakistani terror camps. And now after Pahalgam, India's position has seen a quantum shift. Any act of terror will be seen as an act of war. Pakistan cannot hide behind its nuclear weapons. Pakistan cannot hide behind its proxies. It will have to suffer the consequences of its actions. India struck 9 terror bases in Pakistan and Pakistan occupied Kashmir, not on their civilians or military. India did not want an escalation. Pakistan.
This is the crazy part. I think we'll look at this a little bit later in the video. But Pakistan claimed basically India was not striking like terrorist outpost. They were striking civilians. And then Sky News actually went to TikTok and looked at all the videos from like that area where Indian strike happened. And they were like terrorists posting videos on TikTok before the strike happened. So it kind of confirms that India was not targeting civilians.
Pakistan did. But their moves
Oh, thank you so much for 400 INR. Vijay, what was the message? Let me look at it. India struck Pakistan nuke stockpile, which created a nuclear leak. U.S. Department of Energy folks are now, and Pak is importing boron from Egypt with the help of U.S.-controlled radiation. That's the reason for the ceasefire. I think India struck something very close, as we covered already. I think they had a strike that was very close to the nuclear facility. But then again, this is not where Pakistan stores nukes. Nuclear facility just means like this is where their headquarters is, where all the nuclear decisions are made, I think. The nukes are spread out across Pakistan, like all over the country. But this is where like the whole facility, like the headquarters where they manage the nukes from. And India hit air base that's like, I think 6 miles from the nuclear facility. So this is when US got involved. But I don't think we have any confirmation of India actually hitting a nuclear facility. I think this was more of a message to Pakistan that if India wants, they could hit a nuclear facility. But let's get back to this video.
backfired. As India demolished Pakistani air defenses, the myth of their nuclear shield cracked. Now, to be honest, it's a bit of a delayed reckoning. India has a no first use policy. We won't use our nuclear weapons first. So Pakistani nukes were not about deterring India from using nuclear weapons. Pakistani nukes were about deterring India from doing anything at all. Any retaliation to terrorism was seen through the prism of a nuclear escalation. It was almost a strategic veto. Pakistan could outsource its wars to non-state actors while claiming innocence, and India and the rest of the world kept giving them a long leash, fearing a nuclear response. But now Prime Minister Modi has called that bluff. You see, deterrence only works when both sides are rational actors bound by rules. Pakistan is neither rational nor law-abiding.
Wait, someone said, BP said Pakistani drones are back across Indian border. I don't know if we have any confirmation of that. Let me check Twitter.
It has weaponized irrationality. It keeps threatening apocalypse in response to accountability, and beyond that, it spun this mythology of the Islamic bomb. You see, India conducted its first nuclear test in 1974. It was called the Smiling Buddha. That prompted Pakistan to aggressively pursue nuclear weapons. And leading the charge at that point was then Prime Minister Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. He even had a famous quote. This is what Bhutto said: "We will eat grass, we will go hungry, but we will get one of our own." He was referring to a nuclear bomb, an Islamic bomb. That's how Zulfikar Ali Bhutto pitched it to the Muslim world, a nuclear umbrella for Muslims. But in the last decade,
You know what's also insane that people are not talking about is the Iranian centrifuges. That's basically like the big machine that you use to spin uranium to create nuclear weapons. They got them from Pakistan. So like Pakistan's heavily involved in other countries getting nuclear bombs.
that narrative has crumbled. Because let's be clear, this is not about Islam. This is about Pakistan using religion as an insurance for its terror factories. It was a dangerous lie, and finally it is being confronted.
I don't see anything about Pakistan breaking the ceasefire. Again, we had some news from like the Indian minister who was from that area who said they broke it when it was announced like a few hours after, but he deleted the tweet. So I don't think there, again, some fighting is still going on the border, but it's not what it was just a few days ago where missiles were flying in, drones were flying in. It's still like just contained to the border now.
The nuclear mask is off. It does not mean that the threat is past.
Muppet Slayer, hopefully is not an option, was because I don't think anyone's hoping for a nuclear war.
Any bomb in the hands of Pakistan is dangerous, let alone a nuclear bomb. But India has shown that it can still be punished. India has also shown that proxy war is no longer a low-cost option for Pakistan. They will have to pay a price for backing terrorism. The question is, what happens next? What happens to a country whose primary deterrent is exposed as a bluff?
Yeah, what Flexi said, we should just have leaders fight one-on-one. Like if Putin wants to take over Ukraine, he should just fight one-on-one.
As you know, in Pakistan, the army runs the country. It's an army that holds the record for losing every war they fought. But at home, they're quite powerful. And that power does not rest on their weapons or ammunition. That power flows from the myths they create.
Yeah, like Phase Nutrient just said, India definitely has way more to lose, especially at a time like this, when there's a trade war going on with like US and China. A lot of the factories were thinking about moving to India. And if India is in like a full-on war where, you never know where the attack is going to happen, a lot of companies are not going to choose India for the factories. And once they decide where they're going to put the factory, once the construction starts, India loses that opportunity. So for India, any attack they hit back has to be like the opportunity cost of like, oh, economically this could be like, I think Indian economy is already like 10 times the Pakistani economy, but with the opportunity they have right now, they could get like insanely big. By the way, we're very close to 500 likes. So if you haven't hit the like button down below, be sure to do that. And right above my head is like a subscriber counter. We're trying to get to 1.7 mil. We're just 10,000 subscribers away, very close. So subscribe if you haven't already.
And they did it during this war too. One report stated Defense Minister Khwaja Asif hinting at a nuclear war. Another report said Pakistan's top nuclear body was supposed to meet.
No, China is definitely behind this. There's been reports that Pakistan's not spending a single dollar in this war. China is basically giving them everything they need. Because for China, it helps out, right? All the companies were going to India. They don't want that, so it's good. India is distracted. And on top of that, for US, the US doesn't want India-Pakistan fighting because US would rather build up India to be like a regional counterbalance to China. But China would rather India be preoccupied with other countries than focus on China.
So this time there was saber rattling. However, India is dismantling those myths.
We are always prepared to face any eventuality. And like I said, that's for the sovereignty, the territorial integrity, and the safety of our citizens. So whatever has to be done will be done. I'm not so concerned about what Pakistan will do in this time. I'm only concerned about what we will do. We have a roadmap and a plan, and we will follow it diligently, and we will follow it to the T.
So someone asked, where is that question? Let me see. Madursmo, I asked if India will break out of BRICS. I don't think that will happen because think about it. There's no cost attached for India to be in BRICS. It's not like US is saying if you're part of BRICS, you cannot deal with US or any country. They're not saying that. And on top of that, India gets some free benefits of being in BRICS. They can have like alliance on this side, alliance on this side. So India is not really like picking sides in a lot of the heated topics, unless it's against China, because India is still friends with Russia and India is still friends with the US. So India basically is trying to play like on everyone's side, so they just get benefits from all sides. And that's why I don't think India will break out of BRICS. If BRICS really tries to create like a dollar alternative, I think then Trump will basically force every country to be like either you're in BRICS or you're with US. And that's when. Right now, BRICS, like it really doesn't matter. It's just for the name. There's no benefit to being in the BRICS and there's no advantage you get.
Nukes cannot be a cover for terrorism. You cannot blackmail the world while gunning down innocent civilians. You cannot invoke the apocalypse when someone tries to hold you accountable. If Pakistan fires, India will fire back. That is the new normal. And in many ways, this is not just a military recalibration, it is also a psychological revolution. The terror machine may not dismantle overnight, nor will Pakistan stop its saber rattling, but something fundamental has shifted. India is no longer playing by Pakistan's script. Once you call the bluff, the game changes forever.
Once you call the bluff. I have an interesting, oh yeah, right here. So Pakistan was saying India was targeting civilians, and then Sky News did like a forensic analysis of the social media feed, basically TikTok posts that happened in the area where India attacked, and they found something interesting. And again, Pakistan has a habit of protecting terrorists, basically, because again, Osama bin Laden was found like, I think 1 mile away from the military base. He was living that close. So it wasn't just he was hiding in Pakistan. I think he had like police escort and police protection in Pakistan. And that's why when US carried out that mission to take out Osama bin Laden, they did not involve Pakistani military. They went in basically not telling Pakistan at all.
Men with guns, jihad hashtags, and support for terrorism, all posted on TikTok, all apparently filmed in an area around a mosque in Pakistan. Sky News has geolocated multiple.
Yeah, 500 meters, which is like half a mile, I think, roughly.
Videos online in support of terror groups that appear to have been posted in a location that was targeted by India. Here's what our data and forensics team has been able to confirm. This is Muradkeh in Pakistan,
So this is where the attack happens. And they're going to look at all the posts on TikTok.
home to the Markaz Tayyiba Mosque. India struck this location on Wednesday, the 7th of May, targeting what it called terrorist infrastructure. Pakistan denies there are terror camps in the area and called the strikes an act of war. But before those strikes happened, videos were posted from the area by people supporting terror groups. Multiple videos were posted by men using the hashtag 313, a reference to a militant group reportedly linked to Al-Qaeda. Some of the videos feature men with guns that appear to be near the mosque. One poster captioned this video of children doing martial arts training in the mosque: "We are little soldiers and we fight the non-believers." We asked an expert about the 313 Brigade and the significance of these videos.
So what we believe that they are trying to invoke 313 label as a badge for jihadist identity and aspirations. In simpler terms, they are using 313 as a kind of a status symbol. At least from what we have seen, these are typically young men posing with symbolic visuals like rifles, with nasheeds in the background or flags and religious chantings. In religious terms, 313 refers to the 313 soldiers who fought alongside Muhammad Prophet during the Battle of Badr in 624 AD.
Sky News confirmed the video locations using satellite imagery in and around the mosque. These images from Maxar show us before and after India's strike on the complex. And videos posted on social media show the aftermath of the strike. Sky News contacted the Pakistan Ministry of Defense for comment and
See, it's not just about iPhones. You know, it's the bigger trend. It's not just Apple that's moving from China to other countries. A lot of companies are moving. Apple is like the big one that a lot of companies will follow. So China is not just worried about Apple leaving. It's like so many companies will follow.
shared the videos we found. They told us, "This appears to be a random video with background music added later, consistent with how TikTok trends often function. If this is to be considered credible evidence, we could produce millions of similar clips ourselves."
This is where it's like pure comedy, because Chinese Ministry of Defense is saying you can't trust social media. You cannot use social media clips as evidence. And then just 2 days before that, we had a Chinese minister say on television that social media has all the evidence of China taking down jets.
Brought up the fact that India lost some fighter jets. So let's be quite clear about this. Pakistan claims it shot down 5 Indian Air Force jets and a drone, as I understand it. India says there's no evidence of that, no proof. So can you provide more detail? Hold on. Can you provide more detail? And is this the response that your army spokesman threatened, or is there further action to come? Let's start with this very specific allegation of 5 fighter jets shot down. Where's the evidence for that, sir?
It's all over the social media, on Indian social media, not on our social media. The debris of these jets fell into Indian occupied Kashmir, and it's all over Indian media today. And they have admitted, their media has...
The reason to talk to you today...
Yeah, like the thinking men said, okay, my bad, this is off topic, but Apple was trying to leave, which they announced they're going to leave, and China is actually blocking Apple. So they cannot ship any equipment out of China, or Chinese officials are purposefully delaying approving like any exports out of China because they don't want Apple moving.
So it's not to talk about content all over social media. I'm sorry. It's not to talk about content all over social media. I'm asking you very specifically for the evidence, for the detail. For example, was any Chinese equipment used by Pakistan to down these Rafale jets, as I understand you are alleging them to be?
No Chinese equipment. We have Chinese planes, JF-17 and JF-10. They are Chinese planes, but they are being manufactured.
No, I don't think U.S. is on India's side. U.S. is really trying to play like the middleman, just trying to be unbiased in this fight. Because again, we're trying to get close to India to basically counterbalance India against China in Asia. But historically, U.S. has been very close to Pakistan. But I think that's like going away slowly.
Manufactured, assembled in Pakistan now. We have very close to Islamabad. We have a facility over there where these planes are manufactured. And if India can buy planes from France and use them, we can also buy planes from China or Russia or United States or the UK and use them. And let me say one thing. They have already admitted that the 3 planes were down.
Can I just repeat the question that I asked? I wasn't asking whether Chinese fighter jets were used. Was any Chinese equipment used by Pakistan to down these jets that you suggest were targeted?
Well, these planes were down at the top fight. Missiles were fired by our planes, and they were shot down.
That is the Pakistan.
What else we got? Let me lipstick. Yeah, a lot of misinformation just from both sides on a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, as someone also pointed out, there's a trade deal, or I guess a temporary trade deal between the United States and China, which happened after like the weekend of negotiations that happened in Geneva. So let's look at that trade deal. So here's the joint statement. I wonder if I can just pull it in. Do you guys see this? Let me see if it's updated. Oh, wow, there's like a 5-second delay. Okay, so yeah, this is the joint statement. Basically, the TLDR of the trade deal is the US tariff is coming down from 145% to 30%. Same with the Chinese tariff, which is coming down from 125% to 10%. But China is also removing everything else that they put on US goods. So basically, there's going to be no more restriction on rare earths, no more restriction on like US jets, anything like that. And this is just for 30 days. It's not for too long. Let me see, where's the announcement? Right here. All right. Let's watch this announcement.
First of all, we want to express our great thanks to the Swiss government.
Oh, by the way, we have almost 1,400 people. So if you haven't hit the like button down below, let's try to get that to 700 likes. We're at 600 right now.
For facilitating this trade meeting here in Geneva. We had very productive talks, and I believe that the venue here on Lake Geneva added great equanimity to what was a very positive process. We have reached an agreement on a 90-day pause and substantially moved down the tariff levels. Both sides on the reciprocal tariffs will move their tariffs down 115%. We had very robust discussions.
Yeah, Train X. The plan is to do every single day. We're still trying to work out a schedule, but we just started last week, but we'll go live every single day.
Both sides showed great respect. It was a chance for me to meet the Chinese delegation. The vice premier I had previously had only a video call with. Ambassador Jameson was familiar with 2 of the other leaders on the delegation from his previous time. So there was very good personal interaction. Both countries represented their national interests very well. We concluded that we have shared interest, and we both have an interest in balanced trade. The U.S. will continue moving towards that. I will let Ambassador Jameson talk about the President's initiatives that began on a historic trade announcement on January.
China's military budget is a lot higher than $300 billion, Rahim. That's what they claim, but then again, they hide so much of their military spending.
20th, which no other president has ever done, following to April 2nd, when we implemented the reciprocal tariffs.
Thank you, Secretary, and I will echo your thanks to the Swiss government and Swiss officials for hosting us this weekend. The atmosphere was very conducive to discussions, and thanks to them, we were able to have very constructive and positive conversations with our Chinese counterparts, who clearly came to deal this week. The rapid nature that we were able to conduct and conclude these discussions is a testament to
Yeah, I don't think he's crying. He was just speaking slowly. I know a lot of people are just asking that.
mutual understanding and mutual respect between the Chinese and U.S. sides. With respect to the U.S. Trade position, our interactions with China, and the agreement today, please keep in mind that the United States trade deficit has ballooned over the past several years, ending up at $1.2 trillion deficit in goods as of the end of last year, which was an approximately 42% increase over a few years prior, when there was an $850 billion trade deficit at the beginning of the Biden administration. So that is a rapid and expansive increase in the trade deficit. And
This is Sky News.
our view is that this is driven in large part by non-reciprocal trade, among other things, and the result has been offshoring of manufacturing and other negative impacts.
Yeah, so someone asked if Trump lowered the tariff. Yeah, tariff were lowered for basically 90 days. This is like a temporary pause. And the goal is to negotiate a permanent trade deal, hopefully. But if that doesn't happen, they'll probably go up. Not to 145%, probably a little bit like 50 or 80%. But right now they went down to, so the 125% that was like the Liberation Day tariff went down to 10%, but we're still keeping on the 20% tariff we had for fentanyl. Also, one of the trade deals that came out with UK, that's also interesting because we didn't really remove much tariff from UK, because a lot of people were saying that we can't have companies move back in if we're going to just remove the tariff after 90 days. So that's where it's kind of hinting that even though we negotiate with countries, the tariff is not going to go away completely. Some level of tariff is going to stay, and that means that companies will be more incentivized to move production back into the United States or just move it around to different countries who have lower tariffs. So hopefully, even after the negotiations and after the trade deal, there's like a decent amount of tariff that's left on China. That way companies are, I guess, not incentivized, forced to move out of China.
Impacts on the U.S. economy. And so on January 20th, when the president was inaugurated, he released the America First trade policy, which was comprehensive and flagged that he, and actually directed agencies, including the U.S. Trade Representative and others, to research this issue and to provide options, which we did, and the president elected
Plantain, only UK and US have an agreement so far, no one else.
To impose reciprocal tariffs on April 2 to address this national emergency of the trade deficit. There was a global baseline tariff accompanied by higher reciprocal tariffs for each country depending on the level and intensity of their trade surplus with the United States. In all of this, China was assigned a reciprocal tariff rate of 34%. China was the only country that chose to implement retaliation against the United States for this reciprocal tariff. All other countries, withheld and decided that they wanted to negotiate with the United States or simply not retaliate. And so we've been in detailed discussions with other countries for several weeks at this point. China, as you know, retaliated not only with tariffs but with disproportionate and asymmetrical non-tariff measures in order to maintain the effectiveness of the reciprocal tariff measures. The president increased our tariff rates to offset Chinese retaliation. And as you know, this escalated to a point where both sides had added 125% tariffs, and with the Chinese side, additional non-tariff measures, amounting to an embargo in some senses on trade, an effective embargo, which of course was not a sustainable practice for either side. And so today, with this agreement, we come to agreement that our reciprocal tariff rate will go down to 10% on the United States side, so it goes down 115%. We enter into a 90-day pause period for negotiations, which both the Chinese and the United States are very committed to, and the Chinese on their side also go down 115% to 10%, and they remove the countermeasures that.
So this is the interesting part, because in the, I guess, press conference, they mentioned that China is going to remove all the other stuff they put, like they put a pause on sharing rare earths with U.S. companies. They're going to remove all that. But I think in here, it doesn't really talk about that. But I guess it's more important what they're saying than what they typed up.
That they have in place. To be very clear, other measures that the United States has put in place in the past, whether it's tariff measures from 2018 or since, tariffs under other statutory authorities, tariffs related to fentanyl, those remain unchanged for now to the side. I'll just make one point, is that both the Chinese and the United States agreed to work constructively together on fentanyl, and there's a positive path forward there as well.
Okay, great. So let's start with some questions.
Well, just if I may make a few final remarks to give you framing and context. I think throughout the trade process, we have had a plan, we have a process in place, and now with the Chinese, after this weekend, we have a mechanism for continued talks. So process, plan, and mechanism. I would say one of the big takeaways from this weekend, the United States will continue a strategic rebalancing in many areas that were exposed as supply chain weaknesses during COVID, whether it's medicines, whether it's semiconductors, steel, we've identified 5 or 6 strategic industries and supply chain vulnerabilities. And
so 5 or 6, he talks about it. I think a lot of the big, so semiconductors is one of them, medicine, I wonder what else. He'll talk about it later, but U.S. definitely wants a lot of these industries back in the United States. So I guess a lot of high-value industries will come back. All the other industries, they could stay in China. That's what they said in the press conference, at least. Or they could go to other countries that are closer to the United States than China.
We will continue moving toward U.S. independence.
Yeah, like Eric said, Eric Rodriguez, the negotiations are also going to focus on these non-trade barriers, and they mean a lot of things. One of them is China just banning U.S. companies. And the interesting thing I learned since the trade war started is one reason China is banning so much U.S. companies from competing inside China is because a lot of big Chinese companies are owned by CCP officials. If you own a company, you don't want competition. You would rather get rich without any competition. So that's one of the big reasons behind why China doesn't want U.S. companies coming into China and competing, because it's just more money for the CCP. And on top of that, just a month ago, we got some report that Xi Jinping's family is worth $1 billion just because they own so many big companies in China.
Or reliable supplies from allies on those, but the
we're at 777 likes. Let's see if we can get that to 900. We have almost 1,400 people watching. So yeah, be sure to hit the like button down below if you haven't already.
Consensus from both delegations this weekend is neither side wants a decoupling. And what had occurred with these very high tariffs, as Ambassador Greer said, was the equivalent of an embargo. And neither side wants that. We do want trade. We want more balanced trade. And I think that both sides are committed to achieving that. We would like to see China open to more U.S. goods. We expect that as the negotiations proceed, that there will also be a possibility of purchase agreements to pull what is our largest bilateral trade deficit into balance that has gotten out of balance. And much of this has happened through neglect over the past 4 years, as the previous administration did not.
Well, Drayton, it wasn't just U.S. giving Pakistan $1 billion. It was really like IMF. So a lot of Western countries are involved, but still doesn't make sense. Especially if Pakistan is buying Chinese weapons, partnering with China. I don't understand why they want Western money. They should ask China for money.
Engage on this issue. That was put forward to us by the Chinese, in fact, and we can see it in what happened to the Phase 1 agreement. We are only looking forward, and we look forward to very good discussions now that we have the mechanism created in Geneva this weekend for talks.
Wait, since we are talking about Pakistan a lot, I want to show you guys two clips from Shane Gillis. I love his podcast. It's very funny. So very enjoyable. They're talking about Pakistan right here.
Does Pakistan even figure they can attack India? That's not even close. India's going to destroy.
You gotta give Muslim countries credit. They punch above their weight class. Every day they go, oh, "What the f is you? What are you looking at, mother?" Palestine went dumb on them, dude. Palestine.
They really are crazy.
Palestine was like, "What the f are you gonna do, dude?"
You are right. Yeah, Pakistan. Who was gassing Pakistan? I was like, no, dude. You
So this is where, for the question, who was gassing Pakistan? It was China, because China has basically foot the bill for the whole war. Pakistan didn't spend a single dollar. It's China, probably the first war in the history that one of the country fighting it didn't have to spend any money.
That's because they said, "I will die for Pakistan." Pakistan's day one. You taught that. And they got nukes. They both have nukes. So both of them are going, dude, we can do it right now.
I don't know why I feel like Pakistan gets their nukes from where like the Coyote gets them from.
For sure.
I feel like
They
it's
have Acme's. They have Acme's.
I mean, how?
But this is the video they're talking about. So this is a famous Pakistani video that's, I think, really old. It's from a Pakistani high school.
The best video of all time.
What is it?
It's a school, and each kid is coming up and screaming what they're gonna do for Pakistan. They all love Pakistan, and there's this big fat lady leaning on she's not even trying half the time. She's like leaning on a podium, like, "What will you do for Pakistan?" It's like, I will teach many kids, how to become great students of Pakistan.
I will open as much educational institution as possible, and I'm proud to be a Pakistani.
She's like, "Oh wow, he's going to teach the youth." And the next guy will come up and will be like, "I will become a great pilot for Pakistan and bomb India."
When I will grow up.
I saw some tweets from some Pakistani analyst on Eric. I know you asked. Pakistani analyst. Let me see if I can find it. But he has been very, he's from Pakistan, but I think the government doesn't like him, so he's been kicked out of Pakistan. But he still has a lot of connections in Pakistan and the government, and he was talking about this a lot.
I will be an army and save Pakistan and destroy India.
And she's like, "He's going to bomb India." Wow.
Strong army, wow,
It's so good, dude. Maybe the best.
Let me see if I can find this about Pakistan getting. Okay, we'll play something while we watch that. What was it?
Great. And with that, let's kick off questions. I'll start at the front row. Jenny Leonard.
Oh, I found it already. Okay, so this is the guy. He has very good. So if you guys don't follow him, he's very connected in Pakistan, and he has good insights on Pakistan and India, everything that's going on. Again, not that I don't agree with everything, but it's always good to hear people who know a lot about some things, because I think he's been following this for decades. It isn't true that IMF is funding the Pakistani war against India, as being claimed on Indian social media. That's rubbish. That's not how IMF works. The Pakistani war is being bankrolled by China down to the last shed and pothole. Probably the first limited war in history, which is being fought by a country for almost free. And basically, this is why Pakistan's so confident. Think about it. They came into this. They knew they had a big power backing them, so they weren't too worried.
Thank you so much. Going into these...
Yeah, that is insane, Andres. Pakistan, I think the country is how old? Almost 75 years. So they were founded in 1947. And to this day, they haven't had an elected prime minister finish a whole term. So definitely not a stable country.
The president posted on Truth Social that he believes an 80% tariff on China.
Salem Black. I don't think India said that they destroyed Pakistani nukes. I think it's Indian media. And Indian media has a habit of really going above and beyond in their reporting. I don't think we have any proof that Pakistani nukes were destroyed.
That seems right. It obviously went down substantially more. How did you end up going to 30%? Was that the president pushing you, or the Chinese not budging before you went down? And then secondly, you have a 90-day pause now, as you have with other countries. What specifically do you want to see in those 90 days? What kind of progress do you want to see in those 90 days? And
So, Eric, I think India is part of AUKUS, or they're part of something that's like AUKUS. So they have a security partnership with US, UK, and Australia. Oh yeah, India is not part of AUKUS, but they're part of something. I'm forgetting what it's called.
have agreed to by then to not ratchet up the tariffs, because it is just a pause, right?
Yes, so
The
I'll.
tariffs then snap back, basically, if you don't have something agreed upon that is substantive.
So the Chinese April 2nd number was 34, continues to be 34%. I'll let Ambassador Greer answer the first question. And just like with all our other trading partners, as long as there is good faith effort, engagement, and constructive dialogue, then we will keep moving forward.
So yeah, I do have to do something, but I'll get back on again. Since everyone who's still here, what time do you guys prefer the live streams to be? So I'll try to plan out according to the time that works for everyone in the future. Just drop it in the chat before we pause the stream for a little while. Now it's good? Okay. Trade break. If you have any specific time, just drop 4 p.m. Yeah, I was thinking 4 p.m. Eastern every day. It would be good to have like a schedule every day. $2 a.m. in the morning now. I don't think I'm doing that. Yeah, I'll try to do during this time or a little bit later in the day. That's it. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So I'll see you guys in some time. Prime news time, 5 p.m. Yeah, 5 p.m., 4 p.m. Eastern. I think that was the initial plan, but I always miss it.